Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Geekbeef. My name is Andy Beef.
I'm Josh Beef.
And this is Geekbeef. This is different than other things we do. Tonight we will be reviewing and discussing the new Venom movie that we just got out of.
Right.
Steve Beef wished to be with us this evening, but he happened to birth his new child this last night.
He's in our hearts.
And he's busy with that. So
He's busy with that, with a newborn child.
So Venom.
So, yeah.
This movie was quite...
Before we say anything, we just want to put a spoiler warning out. This video will contain spoilers.
We're going to discuss everything.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, and...
Yeah, despite all the good things we'll say, it's not a perfect movie, but we do want to throw the spoiler warning out there. So, I mean, with that, if you haven't seen it, you're not missing much.
Yeah.
You're not missing much.
So, going into this movie, I had no expectations. Like, when I heard they were making a Venom movie, I was like, okay.
Sounds good.
Good luck, guys.
Sure.
And then they're like, we're doing it without Spider-Man. I was like, oh, ow. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, I didn't really do any research on this because I just thought it would be like a Venom movie, you know? But what little I did look up, people were... I mean, having seen it, it takes place before Eddie Brock ever meets Spider-Man, or Peter Parker or anything like that. Now, they like mentioned that he used to be in New York and something happened.
They mentioned New York, like he used to be there, and he left New York because he has issues, so he went to San Francisco.
Right, so the movie takes place in San Francisco, and...
Let's start from the beginning. The very beginning of the movie opens in outer space.
I'm going to open my pop.
Oh!
Because I'd like to... I just bumped my mic, I'm sorry. Wait, ASMR. Wow, that gives me mad squeege.
Wow.
All right, so
You
the beginning...
just said words.
I did. So the beginning of the movie, go ahead.
Yeah, it opens in space, which got me a little excited because, like, that's how they bring the symbiote to Earth. They are in space in a spaceship, but that's how it started. Okay, you see a spaceship flying through space. You hear on the radio chat, and they're like, we got the specimens from the meteor. We're bringing it back to the planet. Oh no, what's happening? Chaos ensues. Spaceship comes crashing down to the planet. I was like, that's just like in the comic books and the animated series of how the symbiote gets to Earth.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see that they did that. They even had a little Easter egg with John Jonah Jameson, who is J. Jonah Jameson's son. He's an astronaut. He's always very proud of his son, and it was cool that they had him in it, as he's also the same thing, a part of the comic books and animated series anytime this happens in them.
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that he was... They say his name. Like, they say, what his last name?
They call him Jameson.
They call him Jameson. I didn't catch that at first. He did, and a few others did, I think. But
which was pretty neat. And then that was about it for the movie.
That's about... I hope you enjoyed.
And then it just, like, went
It slowly just went downhill.
First, it started off really boring. Like, I mean, it's
I
interesting enough at first to, like, keep you submerged in the character of Eddie Brock.
I suppose.
Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock was interesting.
But you don't, like, you think he's a good actor, but how do you, like, you mentioned before we started filming about, like, his...
He's good at acting, but, like, his voice, again, like, I'm always joking around about Tom Hardy voicing Bane in the Batman movies. You know?
Sure, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's on the same page as far as that goes.
Most people, Steve Beef, when you watch this, he is not on this. He likes Bane's voice. Again, it's not a problem. It's different, and I'm okay with that. But then even in this, it's like he's trying really hard to guard his accent that he has. Like, I was expecting to hear more of a New York accent, which just sounded like what he was trying to do. But I feel like his voice and his accent was constantly all over the place. Like, what is he trying to sound like in this movie? Did you catch that at all?
I
Were you
just
too
noticed that he
busy?
kind of does this thing all the time. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, I noticed that he kind of does that. Less on him specifically. I didn't really catch much of the voice, of the, tonal quality of his voice necessarily. I thought he did all right. Overall, I thought the acting wasn't... It just didn't... I don't know. The thing I've been wanting to say since I left since before I left the theater, but I wanted to save it for this, was it felt like a Sony movie.
Yeah.
It made me feel like the same way after I finished The Amazing Spider-Man. Like, the director was different, but the shots looked very similar. The CGI was mediocre, which I hate. Me personally, I hate critiquing visual effects because I aspire to be able to do that, but cannot. And so I hate critiquing, and I have no, like, really grounds to do so.
But this is 2018.
It's 2018.
And we've seen some really incredible effects lately in movies.
As a viewer, it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be.
Here's what I caught from that. A lot of the time throughout the movie, it felt like a PG-13 film, but a kid's movie at the same time. I felt like I was watching the 2001 Spider-Man movie in the way they presented some things. There's a motorcycle chase scene, okay?
Oh.
They're literally throwing drones around the place at things, and they're blowing up.
You know what I was thinking when that was
this-
happening? I was like, is that how they're designed? Are they designed to just, like, millions of dollars in drone equipment just to blow up and hit the person that they're chasing?
know.
What is that about?
Like, there's missiles that do that, remote control missiles, but instead they're using drones, and they're just
Or I was
smashing
like-
into kamikazing everything.
I was like, why don't the drones have guns on them or something? Or mini missiles
know,
or
right?
something.
It
Like,
was
why
just-
don't they just put guns on the drones
It
instead
was
of
really dumb.
using the drones themselves? It was the whole scene.
That whole
And-
scene. And then throughout that scene, Drake, the guy that's chasing him, he's on the headphones talking to the guy that's
No.
supposed to be doing
Drake was the
chasing.
bad guy
Right.
that was on the headset with the guy chasing him.
He's back at the main base
Oh, and he
talking
said-
to the
oh
guy
my
on the
gosh.
headset.
Yeah.
And like 3 times during this chase, he said,
Twice.
"Don't you let him get away!
He said it twice.
Don't let him get away!"
He said it at first, and he said it like in the middle towards the end. You know what I thought when he said it the second time? I was like, this is a fan made video, and they're just trying to. They think it's epic.
Yeah. Right.
They think it's epic.
That's what it felt like.
And then it just didn't turn out that
And
way.
it continued to do that because
And it was
at one point throughout this chase, Eddie Brock's smiling and looks like they're having fun. They're making jokes while he's flying around this motorcycle. He goes off the jump, he jumps in, he flies off of it, and you're like, you know exactly what's going to happen. And he's going to use the symbiote.
I don't even want to talk
and
about
catch it.
the jump physics.
And it was it looked ridiculous.
It did.
He looked like he was having a lot of fun though. And that's where it felt like a kid's movie to me. Like I'm like,
yeah, kind
this would
of.
be really entertaining.
I can see what you say.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. I just agree, and it makes my heart hurt.
It continued from that point though. Okay.
So.
Now they get to we'll talk about Eddie Brock getting the symbiote and becoming Venom.
Okay.
Sure. The animated Venom was really cool. But again, the CGI wasn't incredible, which again added to it feeling like an animated kids film to me in some ways. The way he was jumping around, but it looked cool. Like
it looked cool. It's, to me at this point, it's not as bad as Avatar: The Last Airbender was, but the strongest parts were the CGI, and that wasn't even super strong
it's the best representation of Venom we've gotten
in cinematic universe.
That
so
was what was
far.
really cool. Is the Venom?
I'd agree with that. There wasn't
yeah.
enough tongue for me though. Wasn't enough tongue.
I liked that they held back on the tongue though,
Oh,
like
do you?
because it can get really intense. Some animations or pictures of Venom have too much tongue. You're like, okay, that's a little ridiculous.
I can understand.
But
that
this was
too.
done really well. It felt like classic McFarlane Venom. His smile on his face, creepy Venom. But his conversations with Eddie Brock is, I think, what drove the movie. That was one of the better parts of the thing. Is just
You think?
having them talk to each other.
Did they do that in the? Because like the thing that
Mm-hmm.
I had always kind of. I'm not nearly as big of a Venom buff as you. I enjoyed it, and I watched some of the old cartoons as well. But I didn't really know the relationship between Eddie Brock and Venom, and so when I come into this movie and seeing them have like this playful like back and forth, it felt kind of out of character.
I liked it. It was because I've read the Venom Factor books. I've read a lot of the comic books, and that's a lot of times what it is. And Venom is comical in the comic books, even in the old
I didn't know that.
Spider-Man game on PS1, which kind of introduced me to Venom and really made me fall in love with his character. He's hilarious. He was just this really funny, horrifying creature. But they also build on the story of Venom and the symbiote and Eddie Brock. So Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker. Venom hates Spider-Man. Combined, they both hate the character of who is Spider-Man Peter Parker.
I thought about that as well, and
And they built that the same way in this movie with Drake.
did they? I didn't catch that.
Small. It was small, but it was the same type of thing. You know, Eddie Brock
I mean-
doesn't like Drake because Drake ruined his life. Venom doesn't like Drake because
Venom doesn't like Riot.
well, Drake has Riot. So
Riot is. I felt like it was so weirdly paced. Like, you didn't see anything of Riot. I mean, the whole movie is him basically trying to get to Drake, who is like the bad guy for some reason. And Drake, the whole thing with him didn't seem strong. I mean, I don't know if I don't have anything constructive to say. I'm just kind of bashing on it, and I feel really bad. Because, like, but ultimately, I just wasn't even really entertained. I was just kind of like that. Nothing felt like there was any stakes involved.
I laughed a lot.
Nothing
because of how stupid a lot of scenes were. It was just stupid. Okay, the beginning of the movie, Eddie Brock and his girlfriend Annie, I think is her name. You know, he steals one of her emails and uses it as a report. He gets fired. She gets fired. She doesn't like him anymore. And she's like, I'm not marrying you anymore. And she gets in the ring, and then he showed no emotion.
That was so out of the blue.
Yeah. And he should know it. He just looked at her like...
Yeah, and he was like he was totally okay with it. Like, in the scenes where he's with her, he was like, I love you, and I'm sorry, and I miss you. You know, he's like doing that sort of thing. But then, like, when he's by himself, it's just like there's none of it. There's this. Not much shown. Hey.
Yeah, and that's about it. It was just weird.
Yeah, that whole relationship was kind of weird. With her on the front line, Venom.
That was interesting.
I was surprised by it,
to
be honest. I didn't know. Like, I knew that she was the character that did it. Like, that was the Venom. But I was kind of interested how fast and abrupt and weird it was.
It was weird.
It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, super hot.
His girlfriend gets the symbiote for a short time
which we don't even see her get.
He uses her to get to Eddie, back to Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really adds nothing to it. But then after she had it, she's like, okay, it's cool. I'm not scared or worried about the symbiote anymore. It's cool with me now. Mm-hmm. It's looked like a second. The other cool thing was they showed the Scream symbiote. That was the black and yellow one, which was really cool.
For sure.
We didn't see the Carnage symbiote from what I saw. There was no red symbiote, which I thought we would have saw it considering the end credits scene.
Yeah.
It was... Yeah.
I just don't want to go out of this.
And then the story. There really wasn't much of a...
The story felt really weak. It didn't seem like it would go anywhere. Like, the whole reason you would want to see the next one is in the after credits scene. And like
and they should just use that for this one.
The second movie for this one?
Yeah, the second movie should have just been this one. Like, they should have just used Carnage in this movie. Okay, after credits scene, spoilers.
No one knows Riot.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, nobody really knows why. He's not a popular symbiote. When you think of symbiotes, you think of Venom first. And you say, name another one. Oh, yeah, Carnage.
Oh, Carnage.
Obviously, Carnage.
Or Venom, Spider-Man, or whatever. But Woody Harrelson, I mean, I love the dude. He is really good in, you know, the mocking. I've read the books. With Jennifer Lawrence. No, with Jennifer. Was he in Zombieland? The Mockingjay books.
Wow.
The Hunger Games.
Jinx.
Jinx.
Oh, I win.
Dang it. Yeah, the Hunger Games. He was great in those movies. And I always get him mixed up with Michael Rooker?
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker. I get him and him mixed.
I don't know why you get them mixed up.
They both seem kind of scruffy.
Yeah, I guess they are a little bit similar.
But anyway.
They both have that backcountry feel to them type of thing. But... When they first announced Woody Harrelson that was going to be Cletus Cassidy, it was a long time ago that they said that, and
which I didn't know. It was still a
recently. Thing, but they didn't use it. They just put it in the end credit scene, and I was excited. I love Woody Harrelson. I think he'd be a great Carnage. I think Jim Carrey would have been a better Carnage, but hey,
dude, Jim Carrey would have. Dude, I would have.
At this point, my hope is that they don't continue it with the second movie, and we never see this happen again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. It was a try on Sony's part as they continue to keep on trying things without Marvel helping them.
I think from now on we should expect very tiny baby steps from Sony. You know, in the gaming world, they just allowed cross-play in beta with like Fortnite with cross-console, and now we should. That's their spotlight. That's their good part for a little while. Let's give it to them, and then.
Well, they were smart in the way
that
they
movies away.
In the way that they let Insomniac take on the Spider-Man brand. and present it to us with this amazing new Spider-Man game.
That one.
Keep on doing stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
they did it with
It's good
Marvel,
stuff.
so they said, here's Spider-Man, do your best with him, and they have done very well.
Yeah.
Maybe they should do that with their other characters.
Not everything Sony's doing is bad.
Yeah, Sony's not
Sony's not a bad
at
company.
all any means a bad...
They've just, I feel like they're the DC of Marvel. You know?
Yeah.
I feel bad because they're a great company. They've had amazing things in history, and they're doing great things now, like with the Spider-Man game.
Now, this movie wasn't as bad as any of the DC movies.
Oh
that we
no,
see.
absolutely. It was like if Wonder Woman was the best DC movie you've seen so far, this was like probably here. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed Wonder Woman a little bit more.
Well, Wonder Woman's a good movie. I didn't get real into it, but I know a lot of other people.
Sure.
It's a well-done movie.
Yeah.
This is not a well-done movie.
Unfortunately.
It tried so hard to be what it wanted to be, and it had these things in it that really caught on to the fans, I think. Like me as a huge Venom fan, I loved seeing the Venom symbiote. I loved him using his tongue and threatening to eat people's brains. The best scene of the movie is at the very end of it.
Go ahead.
In the it was in the trailer.
It was in the trailer.
It was in the trailer.
That's
He
where he's
threatens
talking
the dude.
to
He
that-
says, "I'm gonna bite your face off. I'll bite off both your arms and your legs.
Yeah,
and
and
then
you're
you're gonna
gonna-
roll down the street like a turd
like a turd.
in the wind." And it was hilarious. That was literally the best.
That was like the
scene
only
in the
time.
movie.
That was one of like the 2 or 3 times that the crowd laughed. And like obviously you don't look to Venom for necessarily a funny movie, but there were like some stuff like that. Like the best part was at the end. And again, like you just said, it was in the trailer already.
Yeah.
And then there's that part where he says like in the trailer he's like, we can do whatever we want.
It's the tagline that you
It's
see
the
on
tagline.
Facebook as it's marketing to you constantly.
And
It's
it's-
literally the last line in the
It's
movie.
the last line in the movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And then was there anything with you and the wordage that they used with like should Venom strictly only use we?
There's a point in the
In
movie that
plural?
really bothered me. The first time that the Venom symbiote is talking to Eddie Brock, he comes out as an extension, like an arm with a face. So he's like talking to Eddie Brock, like,
Yeah.
I am Venom. But he never said I. He called himself we as he was outside of Eddie Brock. And that just continues to show me the poor writing of this movie.
No, he
'Cause
said I.
No, he said we.
No, he said I at one point though.
I didn't notice that because
Yeah,
during
he
this
said it
conversation
once.
he said I and we. You know, he didn't say I. He didn't say I. He said we. He said we constantly in this scene. And that really bothered me because when he's talking to Eddie, he is I and Eddie is you. But when he's talking to him, he's like he called himself we.
A few times
We can do whatever we
a
want
few
with
times
you.
a few times in the film he did say I and you.
Well, that's good.
At least once.
again-
I strictly remember I.
In a scene like that, they should have followed up with it. You know, stuck with it. Had someone reviewing it, making sure that was okay.
Yeah, the continuity there.
They
was
did
a
correct
bit-
the word of symbiote.
Yeah.
She didn't say symbiote. It was totally done, dubbed in that one spot. I was like, well, that like the whole sounding of it, the recording of it
You
sounded
think?
completely different.
You think?
Yeah, because when they got off the elevator,
That's
just like in that
hilarious.
original trailer, she said the symbiote, but totally sounded like it was edited in with a different microphone and different
Wow.
recording.
I knew
continued on
that
to the
part.
next
I knew
line.
that part was the place that they would have done
Right.
it, but I didn't know. I didn't feel like I noticed anything.
Yeah, I thought the sounding for just that one spot sounded different,
So-
but that's just me.
But were
I
you
could
also
be
kind of
wrong.
like listening for your?
Oh,
like,
I was totally
Oh,
listening
here it
for it.
comes. This is where they said it
Yeah.
wrong. And then
But-
yeah,
But the important thing is they did correct it, so that's pretty cool
Yeah,
that they did
thank
that.
you.
Thank you, Sony.
we appreciate that. A round of applause for Sony.
Good job, Sony.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So,
That's all
saying
it
they
is.
were bad.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like
No, we
some reviews should
complimented
have.
it in some ways.
Sure.
Where were we at? We were talking about the symbiote
Symbiote.
wordage. So that's okay. We were done with that.
Which, yeah, we already talked about his origin. I just have such a problem
It wasn't a good movie. That's
with the
problem.
villain.
Talk about it.
Like, who was he? And, like, I don't... But that's the thing is I don't
Okay,
actually...
jump into it and then talk
Alright.
about it.
One of my questions is, who's the villain? Like, the guy... Like, Drake, the villain guy? Not Riot, but the guy that Riot bonds with. Like, Drake. Who is this guy? We don't know anything about him. And the thing is I didn't want to know anything about him. I didn't care about
Yeah,
him.
I had no interest in his character at all. But again, they can make him angry. They make him act.
They
tough,
make him angry,
but he
reckless.
wasn't tough or angry.
They make him like try to be the intelligent guy that like knows how to handle kids really well, but also launch a rocket. And I was like, I'm not buying
There were
that.
some points that I bought it. Like, okay, this guy could do really well with this with a little bit different writing to his character.
I was
A
trying
couple scenes I was
so
like-
hard.
Yeah, but again, most of it was just falling flat. Like, okay, Drake, watch out for this guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna get you.
Yeah, at no point did I fear him. I was more just irritated with the performance, which I feel bad because it's not necessarily the actor, and I haven't seen him in anything else, but it could have been the directing as well. I'm not trying to throw everything on the director, but I think in terms of the casting, he seemed kind of young, which I understand that they brought that up in the movie. 24 years old, you're a young guy that made all these great accomplishments, and it's like, oh great, he's young, he knows what he's doing, he's spry, I wish it would have been like Obadiah Stane, like this old, not old, but like an older guy. Yeah.
I loved Obadiah Stane's character. He was amazing.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
But again, played him. That's Jeff Marvel. Bridges?
Yes, Jeff Bridges.
Yeah. Jeff Bridges
from the Tron film.
Very, very good. Yeah. I don't know why when you said that I wanted to say the line from Ultron. I'm going to show you something beautiful. I wanted to say it because like, we are a simulation. What does he say in the Tron? I don't know. He says something. But yeah, that's like another kind of thing that I was thinking about the whole time during the movie is who's this guy, who's the bad guy, and why should I care that he's bad?
They tried really hard for the movie.
Oh, sorry. Guy Beef just launched. We ended off on...
They tried really hard with a lot of things they presented. They had a lot of good things they could have done. They fell flat on a lot of them. They succeeded on some of them.
They tried very hard.
They got Eminem to write the theme song for it.
Right.
Again, that Steve said in our last episode. Was this the 90s?
Well, you liked it. You said you heard it before. You said you didn't.
I didn't realize they were using I didn't realize Eminem actually wrote a song for the film.
For the film, okay.
And he did.
Yeah.
It's not a really good song either, but.
Well, when I heard it I was like.
That's because you just saw a horrible movie.
I understand that.
An okay.
It wasn't very good.
It was a movie.
It was a movie, and not a very good one. But I kind of felt like it was like where... Now, the thing about Suicide Squad, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because they brought a really popular artist in to do something for a superhero movie where they make a whole bunch of references in the thing. Suicide Squad did Skrillex and Rick Ross with Purple Lamborghini. That song is a banger. I love that song. That's a good song. This song with Eminem...
It was catchy.
It was...
Venom, Venom,
dude,
Venom.
It sounds like a
Venom.
It's probably really loud.
I'm not going to do that.
I thank you, and they thank you too. I was like when the chorus or hook or whatever came up where they continuously said Venom, Venom, I was like, when is this going to end? I was thinking that. I was like, this is... to me, it was. It was so... It was so
you were
annoying.
just growling in your chair like, oh, this movie.
No, I was just
you were rocking back. I looked over at the end. You were like sitting in your chair rocking back and forth.
No, I was trying to look like I was asleep. That's what it was.
Yeah, I thought you were. Sorry. Taco Bell, food and gas for $1.29. There's your sponsorship, Taco Bell. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fun.
What was it? So, when when he came up, when Emmett came in, when
he wasn't
Slim Shady,
he wasn't labeled as Eminem in the credits.
Yes,
he was Marshall
Mathers.
Marshall Mathers.
No, he was Eminem.
It didn't say Eminem though.
At the very bottom, at the very last, it did. It said Eminem and whoever else.
I really like M&Ms. The peanut M&Ms are my favorite.
Mine as well. That's great. That's classy. To wrap up what I'm saying about the music, Purple Lamborghini, the things that they threw in there to spice it up, the references, I thought was very tasteful. It was really smooth. It went in there really well, and it was a great song. The Eminem song, again, not a bad song, but the things that they threw in there, they threw in Eddie Brock's name. Did you hear them say Eddie Brock?
Yeah, it's Eminem. He probably told
Eddie Brock. He
Venom. Probably told the entire story of the movie in that song.
He said symbiote.
As fast as he talks.
Yeah, pretty much like at the beginning of the movie, he went up his place and then he crashed down. Oh, back down.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Like something like that.
He
And
just
if I practiced,
the
I'd
entire
sound
movie.
a lot better too. But I wouldn't be surprised. They're like, Eddie Brock got down, then he got hurt, then he died, then he didn't because Venom got him up.
That was pretty good.
Venom,
Venom. Yeah.
Sounds like a mini scooter flying by.
Besides that, the soundtrack of the movie. The soundtrack was perfect for the movie in the fact that it was so dull and boring and added nothing at all to the film. They were in a car chase, and I'm like, I even stopped for a second. I was like, I'm going to listen to the soundtrack for a moment. Maybe that's good. I did. I was like, I'm going to just stop like focusing on the movie and focus on this music for a minute. And I was disappointed. It was just like dull. I was like, oh, I need to get back to the film. I couldn't.
I didn't notice the music pretty much at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Which to me, I don't know if it's a good thing in this case, but typically in movies, I want to notice it, but I want it to mesh really well. There's this one part near the end of the movie where Eddie Brock is falling off the missile that he just destroys Riot and Drake in, and Venom says, "Goodbye, Eddie." Tears. But then he falls into the water, and then the soundtrack starts, and I was like, it caught me. It didn't startle me, but it caught me off guard, and it didn't fit the moment like at all. I felt like it was Chronicles of Narnia music in the Venom movie, which the Chronicles of Narnia soundtrack is amazing for Chronicles of Narnia. But it sounded like it was like, I don't even know. Honestly,
it was almost like they were using
I don't even want to
recommend
I don't want to
Spider-Man music for it, but that doesn't make sense because
it's not Spider-Man.
This soundtrack should not be anything. I was expecting more of like a heavy.
I would have loved like heavy metal, like
yeah, like
I would have
dubstep.
Sure,
would have fit this movie great.
Yeah, Skrillex and Rick Ross. Where are you at though?
Yeah, it could have helped it a lot, honestly.
I think so. How about Venom's voice, though? Just bass constantly.
I thought that was really cool. Just the deepness of it. The fact that you could feel it, it almost felt like it was in your head when he was talking.
I was not opposed to it. I wasn't opposed to it.
Yeah, it was deep. It was coming from the inside. It was kind of crazy. But it fit him, you know.
Sure.
When he came out and he's got his big smile on his face and he's talking and smashing everything.
I think they could have put a little bit more I don't want to say effort because again, I can't make these kinds of movies, but I feel like they could have done something a little bit more to make it sound to pay homage to like the original, like the cartoon, but still not sounded cheesy. I feel like they could have done something because like Venom's voice in the cartoon was awesome. Like I love that voice. Like there's like some flanger on it. There's like a delay. Not delay. There's like a phaser on it or something. And there's like two pitches and it was cool.
And it fit the cartoon.
And I think that this voice sounded good in the movie too. I suppose I was just wanting to see a little bit more.
I like the way they did the voice. For me, that was one of the better parts of the representation of Venom they did.
He had an accent.
Yeah, it was all just weird. Like I said, I couldn't get Tom Hardy's what he was trying to do with his voice. I don't know.
Say, listen, we're only gonna kill.
There was the rating. Let's go to the rating because they suddenly changed it to PG-13. They were fighting for that PG-13 rating.
Right.
And you could tell that there was a lot of moments I felt like they got to a point and then they cut it. Now I feel like they could make a director's cut of the film that could be an unrated director's cut like they do oftentimes with PG-13 movies.
They did that kind of with Superman vs. Batman.
One of the big things is they complain. A lot of people are complaining that they cut 30 minutes of footage from the movie. Tom Hardy complained about it, something like that.
Huh.
I feel like it's all the violence and the extra stuff that might have been there.
Which I would have loved to see from Venom.
It would have fit this, but I don't think it would have helped it. You could tell like you were expecting to see some heads fly, some bodies get chopped in half.
A little more Deadpoolish.
Yeah, but I'm okay with what they gave it. But I don't think anything could have helped the feel or presentation of it.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, that was Venom. If you've seen it, let's hear about your thoughts and comments below. Again, it's not the worst movie ever made.
Sure.
Absolutely worth checking it out. Maybe when it comes out on Netflix, you can watch it for free.
Yeah. I'd say it's worth the subscription you already pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts for review Species?
Species?
Yeah, review Species.
My review Species. It was a Sony movie. The effects were more than I can do.
How many numbers would you give it out of 1,000?
Out of 1,000? Let's go to 10. Can we do 10?
1,000.
Out of 1,000. All right, I'm going to do 1,000 as a 1 0 point, which is just a 10 for me. Okay, out of 1,000, I suppose out of 1,000, I would give it like 300.
Taking way too long for you to.
You're right. 300.
A 3?
300.
That's like a 3. Oh, a 3.5. You're gonna give it 3? No, I'm pushing you too hard. Okay, you can do 10.
You're making me take forever. I'm just kidding. Out of 1,000, I would probably do like $3.99 for 20.
Oh, that's nice.
Blaze it.
You know what? I too would give it
We don't condone.
a 4.2.
Yeah, we'll do 4.2. 4.2 out of 10.
Just because 4.2
Out of 1,000.
3.1.
4.231.
Yeah.
4.
4 and 231 thousandths.
525,600 minutes in a year. Yeah, wasn't a great movie.
5,896,600
minutes is how long it'll take me to get this movie out of my head.
That's too bad. You're gonna be
It's
bowling
not.
on it for a long time.
Well,
I can get out of my head like that.
no. What movie did we just see? What did we just review? Yeah. I mean, like, ultimately, I suppose, like, it was a fine movie. You know, I don't necessarily regret going to see it, because now I can talk about it, but I definitely won't go see it again,
Yeah.
ever, probably when it even comes out,
Yeah. I don't.
unless they do a director's
I don't know
cut,
if I'll
which
watch
they're
it
not going
again.
to do, so,
We'll see.
I don't know.
They didn't have Spider-Man in the movie. That's
Yeah,
one
there
thing.
is no Spider-Man. We probably should have said that
But
at the
they
top
did
of the video.
have a trailer at the end of the movie. They had 2 after credit scenes. They did the Cletus Cassie thing, and then after all the credits, they did a short clip for Into the Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
which I'm very excited about. They released a new
I'm
trailer
gonna
for it
see it.
recently. It was very entertaining. It actually looks really good. The clip they showed was hilarious. It's a lot more comical. It's great for kids. Kids are going to love this movie.
Oh, it's
I'm going to love this
definitely-
movie.
I mean, we're just
At least
big,
from what
we're
I
just
see
big
so
kids.
far. Yeah.
I don't really know what to expect from it. I think for what it looks like it's going to be great. Just kind of more of a carefree kind of thing.
It'll be fun.
Hopefully with still a good story.
It'll purposely be fun.
Who is the guy chasing him?
That was the Prowler.
The Prowler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like... Who is the guy that was in your old house? Who's the guy that was...
Venom.
No.
No, Spawn.
Spawn. That's what it looked like. Because Prowler and Spawn have similar eye things.
Yeah.
So I thought it was Spawn. And I was like, oh, Spawn. But it wasn't.
No, that was Prowler.
Prowler, yeah. Which makes sense because, you know, Miles Morales.
Check that out on Google. You'll learn more about who exactly the Prowler is. No spoilers.
No spoilers. If you've seen Spider-Man Homecoming, it was Donald Glover's character. In another universe.
Anyways, I'm Andy Beef,
And I'm Josh Beef.
and this
Is Geek Beef.
We can do whatever we want. Tom Hardy.